Brittany Murphy and I go to Hoover Middle School.
Brittany was so wonderful. There was nobody else like her.
There was kind of a sweet, childish, lost quality that she had that just breaks your heart.
She was successful immediately.
You cannot be a teen girl and not love Brittany. In 8 Mile, Clueless. These are movies that will stand the test of time. Brittany Murphy was super cute, but in Hollywood, you have to be Gwyneth Paltrow.
She was not a typical pretty girl, and so many young women in Hollywood are pressured enormously.
She had lost an inordinate amount of weight, and she was dressing totally differently.
She said, that's what I've been told if I wanted to be considered as a leading lady. During a little dip she was having, he came along.
Ashton Kutcher has just confirmed he had close ties with none other than Sean Diddy Combs, and now he's allegedly terrified of what might happen if he speaks out. Sources claim Ashton is not only testifying against Diddy, but he is also considering cooperating with investigators in connection to the suspicious 2009 death of Brittany Murphy. But Ashton is scared, really scared. Insiders claim he's freaked out about potential blowback if he testifies, suggesting that Diddy's reach might go farther than anyone realized. If Ashton comes forward, it could crack open Hollywood's darkest secrets, the kind of stuff that's been buried for over a decade. This isn't just about Diddy anymore. This is about the entire machinery of silence, power, and fear that runs beneath the surface of celebrity culture. You guys better grab your seats, because this story is going to leave you shocked about the lengths Diddy is willing to go through to ensure he stays out of prison.
I was around Ashton Kutcher and Diddy before, and they were speaking about Brittany Murphy. And I don't think I ever told this story, and I'm about to tell this story here. While he was married to Demi Moore, he was still sneaking around seeing Brittany Murphy. You understand? We were going to Nets game, so we picked him up, and he was explaining to Diddy that every time he goes to Brittany's house, paparazzi always catches him or almost catch him coming out her apartment or coming out the building. Diddy was telling him that's either the doorman or your security. You know what I'm saying? And he was still married to Demi Moore at the time. So you could have something, you could be right. Because it's crazy how they said her and Kim and some other individual with them or around them all died of pneumonia and they were in perfect health.
That just gave me the shivers, that, because how can these two people be around the same people but die of the same death? Is it a case of the stories that they're going to expose them of, they become a threat?
Guys, Hollywood's underbelly just got a whole lot darker, and guess who's smack in the middle of it now? None other than Ashton Kutcher. Yes, the That 70s Show heartthrob is suddenly tangled in the messy web surrounding none other than Diddy, who's currently drowning in serious legal heat over trafficking and racketeering allegations. And get this, Kutcher has confirmed his close relationship with Diddy, setting off a wave of speculation that's got the internet in full-blown detective mode. Now, if someone told you a few years ago that Ashton Kutcher would be tied to a conspiracy involving Diddy and the chilling, still unresolved death of Brittany Murphy, you'd probably laugh it off. But here we are. Rumors are flying that Ashton may be working with federal investigators, and not just as a casual observer. He might be a key piece of the puzzle. Let's rewind to Brittany Murphy. She wasn't just another Hollywood starlet. She lit up every screen she touched, but her final days were straight out of a psychological thriller. Friends say she was terrified, convinced she was being watched, even poisoned. Then, just like that, in December 2009, she collapses in her bathroom and dies. Pneumonia was the official story, but no one close to her bought it. And as if that wasn't eerie enough, her husband, Simon Monjack, died in that very same house just 5 months later, under disturbingly similar circumstances. With Diddy's alleged empire of secrets slowly unraveling and Ashton Kutcher suddenly on the radar, people are starting to wonder, was Brittany Murphy's death part of something much bigger, something no one dared speak about until now? The connections are getting harder to ignore, and Hollywood's glittery surface might be hiding some seriously sinister truths. You see, when it comes to Diddy, the whispers have never really stopped. They've just gotten darker. Over the years, his name has floated through some of the music industry's most chilling unsolved mysteries. We're talking about everything from alleged ties to the of Tupac and Biggie to jaw-dropping claims that he wanted Kid Cudi gone simply because of a rumored fling with Cassie. Yeah, it's that deep. But one theory that refuses to die down, his alleged connection to the strange, tragic death of actress Brittany Murphy. At first glance, Brittany's death looked like just another sad story in Hollywood. Pneumonia, anemia, and a mix of over-the-counter meds. Tragic, but not suspicious, right? But now Ashton's testimony seems to allege otherwise. You see, people never really bought the whole pneumonia thing, and once the internet sleuths get their hands on a suspicious story, they love digging, and that's when the mold theory took off. People were convinced toxic black mold in her home was the real. The theory spread like wildfire until investigators came in, searched the place top to bottom, and found absolutely nothing. Mold ruled out, but the doubts still there. Because let's be honest, the timeline was weird. Brittany's sudden collapse felt too abrupt, too eerie, and then, like a plot twist from a horror movie, her husband, Simon Monjack, dies in the same house just 5 months later. Same strange symptoms, same chilling silence, and that's when Diddy's name started creeping back into the conversation. No direct links, no official confirmations, but the whispers, oh, they've been loud. Conspiracy theories started to brew, ideas that something more coordinated, more sinister might have been playing out behind the scenes. And in a world where the truth often hides behind power, money, and NDAs, the court of public opinion has already started drawing its own conclusions. Because here's the thing, so much about Brittany's case still doesn't make sense. The pieces don't quite fit. And when you stack that confusion next to Diddy's growing mountain of scandals, accusations, and federal investigations, it's no wonder people are asking what really happened to Brittany Murphy and who's been hiding the truth all along.
You start to think, well, okay, who gained from her dying?
There were more unanswered questions after the autopsy came out than there were answered questions.
People start thinking, there's more behind this. There's something else.
Simon had all these secrets.
He actually said people in the government were watching them. Brittany's dad was sure someone had done it.
You visibly see mold.
Is the house cursed?
Something made her sick. A healthy 32-year-old doesn't just die.
Now, this is where things really start to spiral into the kind of Hollywood horror story that makes you question everything. Because guess what? Brittany Murphy's own father never bought the official story. Pneumonia and anemia, that's all they said that took her out. He wasn't having it. So about a decade ago, he took matters into his own hands and brought in a private investigator. And what did they allegedly find? It sent shockwaves through anyone still paying attention. Heavy metal poisoning, not trace amounts, not something you'd get from a bad supplement or some sketchy takeout. We're talking serious levels consistent with being slowly poisoned over time. And now here's where the plot thickens in the darkest way possible. Those same whispers of poisoning have also followed the death of Kim Porter, Diddy's ex, who died in 2018 under equally bizarre circumstances. Let that sink in. 2 women, years apart, both reportedly scared, both allegedly showing signs of being poisoned, and both somehow tied directly or indirectly to Diddy. Brittany, before her death, had been telling close friends that something was very wrong. She felt watched. She was terrified. She even told people she thought she was being poisoned. This wasn't some dramatic Hollywood meltdown. This was real fear. And then poof, she's gone. And if that wasn't enough to chill you, her husband, Simon Monjack, dies just 5 months later. Same house, same official cause of death, pneumonia and anemia again. What are the odds? To this day, people are convinced it is a coincidence that it was a pattern that's becoming harder to ignore. And now, with Kim Porter's case echoing the same eerie notes, the speculation has come roaring back. Were these women silenced? And if so, why? And let's not forget the wild card in all this, Ashton Kutcher. Yep, the charming, funny guy from our favorite sitcoms. He dated Brittany Murphy, remember? But when she died, he went silent. No emotional tribute, no media statements, just a strange, icy quiet, and now that his name is floating around the same inner circles as Diddy's more sinister allegations, fans are starting to wonder if that silence was more than just grief. Was it fear? Was it guilt? Or was he keeping his distance from something far more disturbing? As more people connect the dots, one name keeps circling back to the center of it all, Diddy. And suddenly, all those crazy conspiracy theories, they're not sounding so crazy anymore. Now, let's be honest, what happened to Brittany wasn't just tragic, it was terrifying. And the deeper you dig, the more you realize this might not have been an accident at all. This might have been a warning. Brittany was everywhere in the early 2000s, a star on the rise, magnetic, adored. But behind closed doors, her life was unraveling fast. Toxic relationships, total isolation, alleged financial and emotional control by her husband, Simon Monjack, and that ever-growing paranoia like something or someone was closing in. Then came that fateful morning, December 20th, 2009, a 911 call. Brittany collapsed in the bathroom, rushed to Cedars-Sinai, cardiac arrest, pronounced dead by 10 a.m. The world was stunned. Hollywood mourned. But something about the official story never quite added up. Pneumonia, anemia, multiple intoxication. That's what the coroner said. But let's not forget, Simon immediately tried to block the autopsy. Why? What was he afraid they'd find? He told the press there was nothing dangerous in the house, just herbal meds and cough syrup. Really? Because what came out later was way more disturbing. Years later, Brittany's own father had had enough. He hired a private investigator who allegedly uncovered something chilling. High levels of heavy metals in Brittany's system, the kind consistent with slow poisoning. And guess what? That same type of poisoning has been whispered about in connection to Kim Porter, Diddy's ex, who also died suddenly in 2018 from, you guessed it, flu-like symptoms and pneumonia. Brittany feared she was being poisoned. Kim reportedly feared for her life too. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And Brittany's final months, a complete transformation. She was frail, terrified, confiding in friends who she felt watched, targeted, unsafe. She wasn't delusional, she was warning us. And then just 5 months later, Simon dies too. Same house, same cause, same creepy silence. Now let's add in the real Hollywood twist. Brittany had dated Ashton Kutcher. It was short but intense. Some thought they'd get married. Then boom, he's with Demi Moore climbing the power ladder. Both Demi and Ashton, rumored to be attendees at Diddy's infamous freak-off parties, those same hush-hush gatherings people now claim were laced with blackmail, exploitation, and sinister agendas. And the real kicker, Brittany allegedly started asking questions about those parties. She saw things, heard things that made her rethink who she could trust. And once she started digging, people believed the clock started ticking. When you connect the dots, Brittany's paranoia, Simon's strange behavior, Kim Porter's eerily similar death, Ashton's silence, and Diddy's ongoing scandals, it all starts to look less like a conspiracy and more like a cover-up. Why did Brittany believe she was being poisoned? Who had the power to keep her quiet? And why has no one in Hollywood ever demanded real answers? Brittany Murphy didn't just die, she was erased. And the more you look into it, the more it seems like she uncovered something they never wanted the world to know. Let me know your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to check out our other videos to ensure you are all up to date with all the latest news. Till next time, bye.